It's that time again. It's another episode of KFUG Community Square. And today we are privileged to hold the microphone for PA Lynn Szabo. Lynn, you are the host of Health Matters, and you've done that for 7 years. You are the clinician for the walk-in clinic on Saturdays at Open Door.
Right.
And you work for UIHS, and you also do the teen clinic.
I do.
That's a lot.
Lucky me. And I have some other stuff that's not mentioned, but same general idea, working oftentimes with young growing families, women, and children. But teens are my favorite.
Teens are your... Okay, wait, hold on. We're going to back up here. Teens are your favorite. So many other people don't appreciate teenagers the way apparently you do.
Well, yeah, they're just asking questions. And I have... And to me, the questions apparently are important to them, and they know that it's a safe space, and they can ask respectfully and clearly, and we can actually have dialogue. So, but a lot going on at Teen Clinic right now, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation.
All right, so tell us what's going on about Teen Clinic.
So Teen Clinic for years and years has been on the campus of CR in what are called temporary buildings. It makes me laugh because they've been there like 80 years, but no.
That's temporary.
Not quite, maybe 80, but around 50. Somebody told me that when they were younger, they worked on the concrete pathways that were put in to accommodate those buildings. And he said that was in the late 60s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. So finally, they're going to be demolished. And for a good reason, actually. They're going to put in kind of like a medical skills education department. So they're going to be not only continuing their program with nursing, but also with things like lab technicians, x-ray technicians, medical technologists. And I imagine some of those people will be able to go on to provider and clinician status.
Wow.
As PAs, nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, and probably some of them will go on to be physicians.
Nice.
And I guess we're growing our own.
That's good. We definitely need to stop bringing in people who have no idea what rural medicine is like or what it's like to be a Del Norter. Because that's its own thing.
It's so fun. But you're right. A lot of people don't get it.
Yeah. Or what it's like to practice medicine with so little resources in a rural, isolated area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Teen Clinic is getting out of the way of progress, I guess, but relocating at a building that they call Two Trees, which you had another name for it. You said you went to Del Norte?
Yeah, I did go to Del Norte. So there's the IMC building, and Two Trees are right there on, Harding? Across from Beth Maxwell. So so it's the Two Trees is the building right on the corner, and the IMC building, I don't remember what IMC stands for, is right next to it.
Yeah.
So it's like the same complex.
Right. So it's kind of an odd, quirky little building, but it's been redone, and Teen Clinic is relocating. Also, I think they're going to have counseling services there.
Oh, really?
In the same part. So there'll be a shared waiting room. But there'd be a private exam room, which I think is also the clinician's office, and then kind of a supply area.
Okay, so they'll have counseling for teens or counseling for the community?
I think it's high school students.
Okay.
So, and I don't think that Teen Clinic necessarily refers people to that counseling, but I haven't met those counselors, and I'm sure I'll figure out a way to get teens that need it sent over there.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we're going to have all the things that we usually have in Teen Clinic. So I have birth control pills. I have treatment for like urinary tract infections or STIs like chlamydia or gonorrhea.
Okay, so just because I'm old, STIs, sexually transmitted infection, that's what we used to call STDs.
Which, sexually transmittable disease.
And that used to be called
VD.
VD.
Yeah.
So venereal disease. It's all the same thing.
I know.
Okay.
As soon as the parents figure it out, then we change an acronym. But so, these similar services offered, definitely since it's a confidential service, then it'll be It'll be also state-only family planning. So I think we talked about this a little bit on a different show, but
And I think it's on the adulting show. Okay.
so what teens need is confidentiality and their own space, their own grace, to collect their own information, make their own decisions about situations that they're in or choose to put themselves in. And
That's a choice to be put into, though, right? So
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe somebody can decide when they're ready to be sexually active and they have a good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they plan ahead because they're concerned about pregnancy, for example.
There you
And
go.
consent happens, and it's all rainbows and unicorns, and that's great.
That is great. But if it doesn't happen, they can come and see you too and deal
Right.
with the aftermath of that with support.
Or they can come and see me as a tool to get to that place.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
meant. I apologize. So a bridge to get
Right.
the services that they need.
They can get the information, they can get their questions answered, respectfully and not, and accurately. So
That is a huge thing. So, so if a teenager is thinking of becoming sexually active, and this is not a conversation they can have in their home because that's not something they have access to in their home for
Right.
whatever reasons,
Right.
that teen can come see you and get actual factual information and not just something their friend was told and they think is true.
Right.
And then they can get you have the cool condoms there too, right?
The glow in the dark's
The glow
always
in
a
the
fan
darks.
favorite.
It's
Yeah.
a fan favorite regardless of age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they can get the supplies they need, they can get the information they need, they can get testing that they need, and it's in a confidential way, and it's, for the most part, almost 100% paid for by the state-only family planning.
Okay. So they don't have to come in and with their insurance card or know
Nope.
anything about their parents' insurance.
Nope. And and they don't have to be worried about having to answer a bunch of questions they don't know the answer to. As soon as if somebody asks them a question, let's say a receptionist, and they give a blank stare, then the receptionist understands the situation immediately and can accommodate.
Nice.
So this is a first step of adulting in a really gentle, supportive, confidential way.
Aw, that's very nice
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah, it's easy. And then they come in, they sign in, they get put on what's used to be called the teal card in Humboldt County. Now they call it the green card up here. But it's state-only family planning.
Okay.
It's kind of cute. They all put it in their wallet like it's their first credit card or something. But it's not. It's not a credit card.
It's where they can go to get access to the healthcare that they need and the factual information that they need.
Right. And then they come in and, they have a concern. We address their concerns. We don't put our agenda on them.
Okay.
It's really important. They get to have choice. And, we address whatever it is they need.
Okay.
And most of the time, it's just easy as handing somebody a bag of condoms. And then sometimes it gets more difficult.
Okay.
So,
And you're there to help them even when it's difficult immediately, and then to connect them to the resources that they
Right.
would need to continue whatever that is. So if a
There's-
teenager shows up and they're pregnant, you're going to help then, right then, and then you're going to connect them to the resources that they need to sign up for Medi-Cal or Medicaid or whatever we want to call it,
Yeah.
partnership here in Del Norte County, food stamps, WIC, or any of those other things that it is that they
Right.
need if that was the choice that they've made.
Right. And the information that we call the choices packet, it has choices and logistical information on if somebody's seeking to parent,
Okay.
if somebody's seeking to have the child adopted out,
Okay.
or if somebody's seeking to terminate.
Okay.
So it's informed consent, and it's the choice of the woman who's making that decision.
Okay.
And she can choose whoever she wants to support her in that.
Okay, and that applies to the right because so if you're saying a woman, so if somebody over the age of 18 comes in, they can get the same
Yeah.
information from you. But so if a teenage girl comes in,
Mhm.
you're going to give her the same information
Uh-huh.
to say these are your choices, and I'm here to support the choice
Yeah.
that you make. It's
Right.
yours.
This is how you make an appointment with Dr. Kirk so you can get into OB care.
Okay.
Or these are the local abortion providers. There's two kinds of abortion. There's surgical and medical.
Okay.
And then they can gather up what information they find helpful for their own free choice, their own decision.
Okay.
And if they're not pregnant and that's not even a choice, and they're like, yeah, I want the thing in the arm like my friend has, then I can say, you mean a Nexplanon? Do you know that's the most effective form of reversible birth control for women in the history of the world?
Oh, you're kidding.
What a
And
great
I've never even
choice.
heard of it.
Yeah, what a great choice. And so I can put Nexplanons in and I can take them out because if you're a teenager, there's a certain amount of putting them in, taking them out.
Okay.
And then
Is that necessary medically, or is that just teenagery things?
it's teenagery change of direction
Gotcha.
frequently. And then I've also kind of, we sometimes have talks as is appropriate at the high school.
Okay.
So, but we're going to be there Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 5, so that stays the same.
Okay.
We have state-only family planning grant money available, so that stays the same. I'm the clinician doing that, so that stays the same. The only thing that's different is it's in a different location.
Okay.
And the location itself is still very, very close to the high school.
Yeah.
So instead of looking straight ahead and walking across the parking lot, you can look to the left.
So walk out the front door of the high school and hang a left. And
Yeah.
if you're a student at Del Norte High, you're just going to take the exit down D Hall, walk up that path. That first building across from Bess Maxwell is Two Trees.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we're not quite there yet, but we're close to moving in. So right now, we stopped having teen clinic on the Sierra campus about 3 weeks ago, and we're getting ready to start it back up in this new site at Two Trees. But for the moment, we're at Del Norte Community Health Center, which I call the mothership.
All right. So go to the mothership, and that is on the corner of Northcrest and Washington. Still same hours, 1 to 3, or is it Monday through Friday?
It's 1 to 5.
Oh, 1 to 5.
Tuesday afternoon.
Okay. Tuesdays, 1 to 5, the mothership on Northcrest in
Right.
Washington.
It's the same process, although it looks a lot scarier. And there's, unfortunately, less confidentiality for the teens.
Okay.
But
Is that because it's the community health center and
yeah, it's
okay,
a
there's
big-
more people
It's
there.
a big building. There's a lot of people there.
Okay.
I don't think teens really know what to do or who to ask for help and stuff. But everybody there is supportive of your quest. And if it's even there, if you're just going there to get condoms, that's fine. We'll give you a bag of them. But if you need more help than that, we're here.
So you can just walk up to the counter, the front desk at the mothership and say, I need condoms, and they'll give them to you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that teens out there know that because advertising and Open Door is more Humboldt-centric than Del Norte-centric. So
Yeah.
there's not really any way you could know about these changes.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, one wonders. It's one of my challenges to say, remember, we're here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are here. That's one of the challenges with everything in Del Norte.
Yeah.
So how, because there was no teen clinic when I went to high school here. We didn't have these resources, and you had to know somebody who's big brother you could, give money to go get you condoms or do whatever. How long has this been a service here in Del Norte County?
Well, I've been doing it 7 years, and I think the woman who did it before me, Dr. Melanie Pope, PhD nurse practitioner, did it for maybe 1 to 3 years before me. But this has been a service of Open Door in both Humboldt and Del Norte counties for decades, I think. Since
No, I just graduated a few years ago.
Oh yeah, it was just like yesterday.
It's just like yesterday. Like how many decades? Because again, I don't remember there being
It's
any
multiple.
type of
My two children would not be opposed to me saying that they were clients of of teen clinic in
But that was in
Humboldt.
Humboldt County.
I was in Humboldt.
I don't remember there being any type of service like this when I was in high school, that you could go anywhere to specifically see somebody and ask questions
Right.
and get factual information,
Right.
or condoms or contraceptives.
It was hypothetically available at the A Street Clinic at least 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was in high school.
Yeah. But that's the problem. It was on the A Street Clinic site, and that's a long walk from the high school.
Right. Or a trusted friend to drive you, or any of
Or
those
something
other
like
things.
that. Yeah.
So there's going to be, right, because these are community conversations, so we want the youth to know these things, but inevitably their parents are going to hear these things too. And we're not trying to be secretive about there being a teen clinic or the services that are provided at the teen clinic.
Not at all.
But I don't think for parents there's an understanding of why it's done the way that it is, right? Because the parents think that they have the authority to make all medical decisions for their child. So why is it so important that we have a teen clinic and we do things this way?
Because I think it's important that people understand that teens that are educated in reproductive health and have the resources they need that are available to them actually postpone sexual activity for years, a year or two. And so they somehow realize the responsibility that it is really to do it right, and it makes them wait.
Oh,
And,
wow. So
yeah.
when you give them all of the information, they think, hey, I'm going to hold off on that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So if they allow their child to have factual information, they actually end up getting the results that they want, which is for their child to
Right.
not have sex in high school.
Right. But
Huh.
every parent, whether they can admit to it openly or not, is raising a child to be a functional adult. And so that's why when your kid is 9 years old and they're talking about HPV or human papillomavirus vaccination, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is a 9-year-old. No, this is a 9-year-old that you're raising to be a functional adult. And a functional adult oftentimes is sexually active.
Yeah. I never really thought about it. I mean, it makes sense. And when you think about it, you're like, oh, well, duh, you're raising a functional adult. So you're teaching them to read, you're teaching them
Right.
responsibility, you're having chores, you're teaching them to build relationships with friends and how to maintain connections.
Right.
All of those little things. And this is a part
This
of
is-
overall well-being is
Yeah.
taking responsibility for your sexual health as well.
Right. This is part of the process for when the baby's initially born and they're taken across the room to be measured and weighed and cleaned up and medically evaluated. That's their first step away from you. I can say as a mother, since I am one. And then, they're brought back and, your life with them starts, but you are teaching them things that are allowing them to become functional adults. Like eating with a spoon, okay?
It's the same thing. Yeah. Driving the car safely.
Driving the car safely, knowing why it's a bad idea to get in a car with somebody who's been drinking.
Yeah, we don't give the keys to the car to the kid that just got their driver's license and have never driven on 199 ever and say, go drive that dangerous road all by yourself.
Right.
I don't know a single family that doesn't take their child up on 199 to make sure that
Right.
they drove it with somebody, a good driver, to take them up there and to show them and to teach them, and then they let them do it on their own.
That's why we're responsible for giving them information so that when they're ready, they can go into that part of their life. It's part of everybody's life in the most responsible way possible. And not only allowing for their own personal kids' growth, but also, things like consent and safety and, protecting each other from STIs, stuff like that. So we're teaching them these skills to be successful. And if you need some help, because that's a hard thing sometimes for parents to do, and then a teen clinic can be helpful for that.
Wait, so like mom and dad can be like, we don't know how to talk about this with our kid, and we're uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable. We're just going to pop in and you can
Right.
do the sex ed talk for my
It
kid.
is super common for mothers to bring their daughters in.
Wow. But
a
dads can
teen
do it
clinic.
too.
Yeah, they could. There's been a couple of dads that did that too.
Wow. That's an amazing thing
Right.
because it is awkward. I mean, most of the people I know,
Right.
they suck it up and they figure out how to do it, but they'll be like, "Oh my god, I got to have to talk with my kid," or
Right.
we're doing the age appropriate thing. They're,
Mm-hmm.
my daughter's going to start her period, or my son's
Right.
having some of these things, and it's awkward and uncomfortable.
Right.
So they can just pop in and be like, "Hey, can you talk to my kid about this?"
Right.
And you will.
And they can be in the room and let me talk to them, with them in the room. Although the kid gets to decide this, or they can be waiting in the waiting room. It's
Wow.
their choice. They go either way.
So is there a minimum age that you will allow parents to bring their kid in to have these talks with you?
I think age of consent in California is somewhere between 12 and 14. So I think it's 14.
Okay, for them to come to the teen clinic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I mean, that's an amazing service that you provide, Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes it so much easier to be like, hey, we're right when we were talking about the adulting episode that you did on Health Matters, we're going to go learn and you're going to learn how to fill out medical paperwork and you're going to learn where to go for safe information. And I'm going to go with you and we're going to have the sex ed talk with Lynn. She's amazing.
Right. Well,
And you'll give you some condoms. Here you go.
Yeah.
Some of them glow in the dark. Don't make
Yeah.
them into water balloons. You're
So-
going to hurt the turtles.
so give those ones to me because glow in the dark, really? Well, you know what? The condoms, I'll just say they're made by a manufacturer that has a really, really good marketing team. So they're very teen friendly,
Okay.
and they're the kind of things teens would look at in the store, but not inappropriate. They're just graphic in
Yeah.
the way of graffiti,
Okay. I
know.
gotcha.
graphic art
They're marketed towards to
right,
youth. Gotcha.
to young people.
Wow. I mean, that's just a phenomenal. That's a phenomenal resource within our community, and I had no idea that we could just rely on you to be like, hey, can you help me parent here?
Right.
But and we also have foster kids too, right? So
Right.
teenagers that are in foster care,
Mhm.
and for that foster parent to be like, we don't have that kind of a relationship for them to
Right.
trust me to do this. So
Right.
we're gonna come in and talk to you. Do they schedule an appointment, or can they just walk in and
They
be
just
like,
walk in.
okay? Because that's an
Tu-
amazing
Tuesday 1 to 5. Yeah,
Tuesday 1 to 5.
yeah,
That's
it's amazing.
I can't. I'm just
My kids got so much out of it when they, my kids were educated. They were Planned Parenthood babies, so they were using all the proper terminology and stuff. But I kind of coached them about this is a receptionist. You sign in with the receptionist. She's not going to laugh at you if you don't know the answer to a question. Just look at her and blink and say, I don't know, and she will be able to help you solve these problems. And
So is this kind of something like all parents should just kind of wander on over with their kid and be like, this is the teen clinic.
that
this
happens a lot.
This is how you find these resources, and this is how you take responsibility for your health and your mental health and your sexual health and your physical well-being.
Right.
These are the things, because you're raising a functional adult.
Yeah, a lot of times the moms were actually teen clinic, they had teen clinic experience somewhere else.
Okay.
And they'll go, yeah, this is a safe spot. These ladies will give you good information. These guys will give you what you need to remain safe.
Yeah, I'm genuinely. I did not know we had such a resource within the community to even available to parents or caregivers
Right.
to do those types of things. That's just phenomenal. It really is. Do we know if it's reduced the number of teen pregnancies or the
Overall,
overall?
I don't know if we have Del Norte data. I don't have it off the top of my head, but birth rates have dropped a lot over the last 10 years in teen women. So a lot means like 30%.
Damn.
And I think that has something to do with long-acting hormonal birth control methods, like the Nexplanon, the one that goes in your arm.
Okay, that would make sense, right? Because if you have to hide the medication, or if it's going to make you a little bit sick, and you're supposed to take it at the same time every day, and your family is not supportive of.
Right, Depo-Provera, which is an injection. It's a progesterone-only birth control method that's injectable, and a lot of Del Norte women use that, actually. And that way you don't have to, explain to anybody what's under your bathroom sink, that you stashed away there. You can
That's true.
keep what you decide is the private part of your life private.
Okay. That's awesome.
Now, I will say that if we run into somebody who's talking about like a foster parent who's beating him or something, we're mandated reporters.
Okay.
So somebody in an unsafe situation, through no fault of their own, that's going to be reported to the appropriate authorities in Del Norte.
Okay.
So safety is important.
That is important. There's a
Mm-hmm.
reason why there's a mandate for that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it the same kind of a thing if we have our teen runaways that are homeless and that come in? Do you have to mandate and tell their families where they are, or
No.
no? So
In fact, they can also leave school. They can leave class and get an excused absence that is not communicated to their parents.
okay. So you just write a note basically saying that they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, we don't even say that they were there. It's an open door letterhead that says they have medical reason to be excused from class. The
Okay.
end. Yeah, and there's no more detail. I remember one of my daughter's teachers reported to me through my email that she went to teen clinic that afternoon. It was a Thursday afternoon. I happened to be on the board of that school, and we made sure that all the teachers were educated that was illegal communication.
Wow.
That the teens had the right to privacy.
Wow.
It's more than a right, it's a law.
It's a law, right? So they're protected by HIPAA
Yeah,
and that other family thingy that you were talking about.
right. And I wrote back, yeah, I know, their dad drove them.
So that is something that's open to them in a private capacity and with their family. So
Right.
they can go in. So if the teen pregnancy rate has dropped roughly 30%, what is the rate of STDs that have dropped since we are making
It's on the way up again.
it's on the way up? Just in
Yeah.
Del Norte or all over?
I think all over.
Okay.
Syphilis is our old foe.
Now that's an issue here in Del Norte, or is that
It
an
is.
issue all over?
All over, but it's also an issue in Del Norte.
Okay.
Starting to affect the next generation because there's pregnant women in the community that have syphilis, don't know they have it, and find out when they're pregnant. If they have prenatal care, a lot of women in Del Norte kind of skip that part
They really do.
for whatever reason they might have. And then if they give birth to a baby that's affected by congenital syphilis, then that's just tragedy,
Wow.
preventable tragedy.
It is a preventable tragedy. So
Right.
they could have come to see you, been treated for
They
that.
could.
and
It could have been tested and treated.
It could have been prevented if they come to see you and
Or if
got
they
condoms.
went and if they saw the OB provider, the Sutter Coast Community Clinic OB providers are well versed in taking good care of women, so
Yeah.
they would of course tested for that.
Wow. So you're there to prevent all of these tragic things from taking place.
Yeah,
So we talk all the time in spaces at the school and within the community and everything else about going upstream, the upstream model, about instead of waiting for people to fall into the river and go over the waterfall, you go far upstream and you prevent them from ever following in the first place.
right.
And so you've gone so far upstream that you want to help the families educate their teenagers and to help them learn to be functional adults and to be a part of that process all along the way.
I guess so. I want to give good medical care, and all of those things are part of good medical care.
Yeah.
So that's even further upstream.
Right? You have gone so far upstream that you've gone to where the water has entered the river and are just like, see, this is going to
I'm at the spring. We're
this
just
is the
dribbling
spring that
out.
leads to
Yeah.
the river and it goes all the way over
Maybe,
here.
but I'm just there because teens delight me, actually. I like teens because they ask questions that are so painfully fundamental, but it represents the beginning of their adult thought process. Like it's just dawning, it's just occurring to them. And nobody should laugh at them for that because we all had that moment in our life. We should be, that's an important thing,
Yeah.
And then let's build on that a little bit. What about this? What about that? Maybe you should.
Yeah, but it's true. And if you do like, so I have a very dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and I do have a very large family. And oftentimes when a child asks me a question and it seems so obvious, I'm instantly taken back to my being a kid and asking that same question, and it makes me laugh to be like, oh
Right.
my gosh, like I had that same question.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and then usually I'd be like, well, this is what I was told, but that's not true. And that's why I'm laughing because that's not
Right.
true.
Right.
Like we have Google, we can look these things up. We can find you
Oh
factual
yeah, that's when
information.
I start pulling out what we call the fact sheets. So those are handouts, informational handouts.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you could look at sure, you could do the fertility awareness part of birth control, or you could do a Nexplanon. Nexplanon, less than 1/10 of one woman a year gets pregnant using Nexplanon on a regular basis. 25 women in a year get pregnant with fertility awareness. So, what's speaking to you, really?
Okay. What do you mean by fertility awareness? Is that like
A rhythm method.
I was going to say, is that like the rhythm method or withdrawal or all of the,
Withdrawal slightly different,
okay.
but
But it's the same.
they're kind of all in the same ballpark.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's not as effective.
Well, if your goal is not to get pregnant, then
Yeah.
consider this, and it's her decision.
It is.
And I don't always agree with that decision, but I go with it.
Now you've been my provider in the past
Mm-hmm.
years when all of the different. It's a small community. I'm sure you've been everybody's provider at some point in time, and that you do the walk-in clinics and
Mm-hmm.
what we used to have as the urgent care and those types of things. You have always been that way with everybody's decision, whether you agree with it or not. You respect that it's the patient's right to choose,
Mm-hmm.
and I admire that immensely. And so when you say that you support their decision as a teenager, you don't put your hand or you don't put your thumb on the scale to be like, well, this is what's
No,
best for you, so I want you to go this way. You just
no.
give them all of the information and
I
support
give
their
them the
choice.
information, um, and they make their own decision. But the information that I'm handing them has a lot of compelling arguments in it. So
Okay.
it's not like I'm presenting my opinion. I'm saying here are medical facts. So if you want to go in this direction, this looks like the right thing to do. If you want to go in this direction, this looks like the right thing to do.
Okay. And then my other question is, with the functional literacy and Delnort being so low, do you just give them the information sheets, or do you like go over them with them and read with them and be like to make sure
I
that they
both
understand?
both depends on what I think they need.
Okay.
But a lot of them have like graphics, like graphs and stuff,
Okay.
and so it's pretty easy to figure out quickly what's what.
Right. And then with their teenagers, they're not going to go and ask a whole bunch of adults. They're going to go and ask a few of their trusted friends. Like, what do you
Right.
think about this?
And oftentimes they won't even take the handouts home because that's,
They're going to get in trouble.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're afraid of that. So they study them while they're there.
Oh, man. So it's just basically they're making a decision on what they can remember.
Right.
That's unfortunate.
But they come and they talk to us. Okay. So that's better than
Nothing. Yeah.
nothing. And it oftentimes young women come in a big group. And it might be like 4 people supporting a friend who is like, I don't want to do this, and they're going, do it.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was fortunate to have a cousin that if you got in trouble, you could call. If there was a thing, you could call.
Right.
And I remember her saying, oh, yeah, I remember driving so-and-so
Mm-hmm.
to get birth control. I remember driving so-and-so to pick up condoms at the clinic over here. And so
Right.
and she's actually a doctor today. So apparently you
Awesome.
guys have always liked giving out information.
Well, similar thoughts, hoping the best for everybody.
Yeah. What would you say to parents who don't like this idea at all about the importance of it?
Well, then they should present truthful, useful information to their teens, and then give them some information about how to, how to achieve the goals that they see as important to them. So maybe their thing is, I really need you to go to college, and to go to college you can't get pregnant, and these are the ways you don't get pregnant. Because just saying, so don't have sex and that's the end of the conversation, that's not really solving the problem. That's cutting off the conversation.
It really is. I mean, there's some people know and other people don't. I was baptized in '86 into the Mormon Church when I was 11, and ended up serving a mission for the Mormon Church in Columbus, Ohio, in my mid-20s, and that's the talk when I was growing up around safe sex was don't have sex,
Right.
and if you do have sex, regardless of gender, you're a disappointment to God. You're going to burn in hell, and now you're excommunicated. That was the whole conversation. And
Right.
like you literally got excommunicated and weren't allowed to go to heaven anymore if you had sex before you were married. And that was the end of the conversation.
Right.
So that is, I don't think it's that extreme today, to be
No.
honest with you. In the Mormon Church, I don't know. I don't attend regularly anymore, any church. But I do hear from women in their 20s saying within the last few years, that's what they were told as well. Essentially was the sex conversation within their home was you don't do that before
Well,
you're
that's
married.
not a conversation. That's a pronouncement.
Yeah. So you're saying, and I would say it too as a Christian, like that's not a conversation. It's you need to, your child still needs to know because
Right.
they need to know.
Yeah.
So if there's a family like that, again, that doesn't really know how to have that conversation because that's not something that was done in their family or anything else. And this is a
Right.
new way of thinking was if we give the information, then it's far more likely you're not going to be having sex at 15 or
Right.
16. You're going to wait until you're older. That family can come in and sit down and have that
Sure.
conversation with you.
Absolutely. Right.
That you would do that you
And
provide
I
that
think
service.
most of the teens, their mom is willing to understand the complexities of it, but the dad is an absolutist. You know,
Yeah.
like there's some forms of birth control you have to keep in the refrigerator, and they can't go there because dad would like lose his mind, or the little brother would get obnoxious.
Yeah.
You know, so oftentimes the mom is fully aware of what's going on and thankful that the kid has an option.
You know, and it makes sense too, because you grew in your mom, or your mom has done everything for you, and your mom was the one that primarily wiped your butt, and that's
Right.
where you go when you have a sore.
I think
or,
it's bigger than that.
yeah,
That another woman understands what having a baby does to young life.
yeah,
And I think in Illinois especially, we have to give our daughters dreams that are not, you know, that being teen motherhood. It's not really a dream. I think for a lot of people, it's something that happens to them.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm glad that's one of the reasons I'm glad CR is expanding on their medical options. So it gives young women more dreams.
Right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have one of the needs that we have had here for generations, which is better access to medical here within the community,
Right.
and then jobs.
Right.
If
If you ask a senior in high school, you know, especially a young woman, what are your plans after school? A lot of it is I don't know. Some of it is Frederick and Charles Beauty College. Some of it is I'm going to help my sister take care of the baby. And some of it, I just don't really hear a lot of women saying, yeah, going to UC Davis, looking at the pre-vet thing, you know. I hear that maybe less than 10% of the time,
yeah,
you know. And then the other things here I think should, you know, explore is maybe some kind of construction classes. I think they have some small steps toward that in Eureka, but usually the young men talk about a desire to get away from school and get into, you know, like construction or plumbing or you know, we have to give our kids dreams. And part of giving our kids dreams is keeping them safe while they try and navigate what's a complex human
growing
problem.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
Learning to be a functional adult.
Inevitability.
Yeah. And learning that you're going to
yeah.
make those mistakes and fail until you learn
Right.
from, and we learn more from failure than we do from success anyway.
Right. But if you go to Humboldt County and you ask those women, those, 17, 18-year-old teenagers, both men and women, they have way different dreams. We
Wow.
need to give our kids dreams.
So I sit on what's called the Prop 64 committee,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the marijuana tax money that's collected throughout the state,
Mm-hmm.
given back out to communities through like a grant portal process. And I believe we were the second cohort of that money. And one of the things in the Prop 64 report for Del Norte County was that our children don't have dreams, and they don't have access, if they do have a dream, to fulfill that dream.
Right.
And it talks about the profound sense of hopelessness within our youth within Del Norte County. And so we have funds available now to help address those issues. You're a mom, you raised two daughters in this general vicinity in Del Norte and Humboldt County. What would you say to parents to help facilitate hope within kids today?
Well, my understanding is they haven't really talked to somebody who does reproductive health for teens yet.
For Prop 64?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that they asked for names for health providers. I actually submitted your name.
Right.
That was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And then
I think if they're interested in it, they should be talking to the people who do it. And I'm the only one I can think of offhand in the county.
okay.
So, although I'm sure there are more clinicians that I'm not really aware of who would be willing to render opinion on that, but nobody's reached out to us.
Okay.
Big question mark. That seems weird.
Yeah, I just wonder with all of spring break and all of the other stuff if Jennifer just
Maybe.
hasn't gotten back to you. So I'll email her today. I would love to sit on a committee with you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I have big ideas.
Okay. Yeah. I know that they've gotten several of the grants have been submitted and those types of things, but I don't know if they're going to try to get money from cohort 3 or 4. Where marijuana is legal and it's always going to be taxed. So I don't know how much money is going to keep coming to Del Norte County for this. But
Right. They could also talk to CR, I think, because CR expanding resources would be great.
okay.
Yeah. A lot of the kids don't know that when they're in high school, if they have a certain grade point average, they can just walk across the parking lot and get free college level classes. And they should know that.
Absolutely should know that. Families
Right.
should absolutely know that. So
Right.
if you're struggling financially or don't know how you're going to pay for college, your kid can, in junior high or elementary school, have that path of,
Right.
I can go to college. I can do this. If I keep my
Right.
grades up, if I stay engaged, I can just
Right.
walk across.
Or as my younger daughter said when I was driving him back home from her first college class at CR, I think she was 14, Mom, in that tone, you never told me that college was fun. I'm telling you guys, it's fun. So
Wow.
everything that's hard about high school kind of evaporates in college. So,
Really?
yeah.
Even while you're still in high school?
What? So, I'm sorry.
Even while you're still in high school?
Yeah, you can go to college while you're still in
No,
high
I'm just
school.
saying if everything you said that's evaporates, everything that's hard in high school evaporates when
Right.
you're in college.
Right.
Does that still apply even if you're a high school student going
Yes,
to college?
yes, because you're around people that are more eyes on the prize. They have a goal in their life. They're not necessarily trying to get you to, sit in somebody's gum or something. That they're thinking greater thoughts. The classes, I think, are more something a kid would want to pay attention to, and they're not so completely controlled, like they don't move around with bells and stuff.
Okay.
That they just feel like a little bit like they've arrived.
All
You know?
right. So their
And they-
classmates are further down the path of functional adults than their high school
totally,
classmates.
and their teachers treat them like adults,
Cool.
more like adults.
Okay, we're going to have you come back to talk about all of the resources available to our teens, including that about the college.
Right.
So families can know as well. All right, so parting words, what would you say to a teenager regarding the teen clinic?
That we're there a Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 5, that I'm the clinician there, that the services that we offer are, birth control, STI testing, and, treatment for some things that are kind of related, like, urinary tract infections, or maybe somebody's got, a little bump that they're wondering if it's a wart or something. So we can treat you for those kind of reproductive related problems, and that we're not going to be on the CR campus anymore. We're going to be at the building known as Two Trees.
Okay.
Okay.
And what would be your parting words to parents or guardians or caregivers regarding the teen clinic and the need of it?
Come on in and check us out first if you want to. That's fine. But you're not the only parent that's used this as a resource and been happy with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're a resource for the family.
Yep.
Lynn, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do in the community and your life, not even just decades, the life of service that you have provided to all of us up here along the North Coast. You're amazing and you're a beautiful soul, and I appreciate it. Thank you. If you would like us to hold the microphone for you on KFUG Community Square, email me at communitysquare@kfuglp.org, and I would be happy to hold the microphone for you.